Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. There's been a video of Blessed Geza speaking on unity and appealing to Zimbabweans to trust him. I find this laughable. Geza is one of the war veterans. And let me emphasize this point. When I say war veterans, I'm not talking of only those who are unemployed. I'm talking of war veterans who are in the army, in the police, in the CIO, in the prison services, and government itself, who have played a significant role in creating the Zanu PF dictatorship that has ruled the country with an iron fist these last 45 years. At the present moment, the nation is caught up in the factional war that has been going on between one faction of Zanu PF and another in their fight for who is going to gain control of the party. And this is what our friend is talking about. And he is asking the people of Zimbabwe to trust him.
Can we be trusted? This is a question on the back of many people's minds. Because many, a time in Zimbabwe, we have seen hijacked revolutions. So it is genuine for you to ask, if this revolution is genuine, the answer is very simple. Very simple. As war veterans, what have we to gain through deceit? Nothing. We have reached the afternoon of our lives. We are not going to be alive for long. But if we die and leave this country under such tyrannic rule, we would have wasted our efforts. We won't do that, never again. We are doing this not for us, but for the future. The idea is to embrace every Zimbabwean, everyone without exception. This is not a fight for one party or one person, no. There will be no repeat of 2017. There is no Chunu in this space of this thing. It's ours together. Maybe what happened in 2017, what is many, but it was said. Many of us invested money, personal resources to fund Operation Restore Legacy. We lost millions with the hope of restoring this country to a democracy, but little did we know that we were fighting for thieves. We are wiser and clever now.
Well, are they indeed wise and clever? I mean, this is laughable because most Zimbabweans would know that the factional war in Zanu PF has got members who are in the afternoon of their life. On the one side is Emerson Mnangagwa, who is, 82 years old? He has served the maximum 2 terms as president. And the Constitution says he cannot serve more than 2 terms. And yet, he has got his supporters campaigning hard that he should be allowed to stay in power until 2030. This so-called ED for 2030 bandwagon. He is in the afternoon of his life, and yet he wants to stay on. Then we've got on the other side our friend here, Geza, and his colleagues who are fighting that V P Chiwenga should take over. He is no spring chicken either. He too is in the afternoon of his life. And yet, he and his supporters are adamant that he should be the one to take over. And therefore, then to hear people like our friend here telling us that he and his friends are only interested in saying a better Zimbabwe, blah, 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 and we should trust him, is naive, to say the least. Here is Blessed talking earlier on about how he wants to see Chiwenga in power.
I'm a nationalist. Don't I'm all veterans. You know?
What's the difference?
I'm not prepared.
Are you against the 2030 slogan?
Yeah, I'm very much against. I think from my last interview, now that this is bullshit. You know? This is bullshit.
But you
yes. Fighters. One way up in State House. Unaona zviri normal izvo.
But you were 2 guys. Robert Kabila Mugabe was your guy.
Fuck off, man.
Mnangagwa was your guy.
Iwe. When we say my war veterans, wanzwe handikutaura zvakawanda. Wanzwe, right? I'm a nationalist. Ndotaura my war veterans. You know?
What's the difference?
The truth of the matter is, he is fighting for Chiwenga to get in. At the present moment, as much as he sees it as a challenge for these men to get into power, he clearly would like to see Chiwenga in power. I think the most obvious question to ask Comrade Blessed Geza and his comrades who are now telling us that they've changed, they're now Democrats, they want to see a democratic Zimbabwe, and rather than leave it in this chaotic state, is if Mnangagwa was to fail to push through this postponement of the 2028 elections amendment, then V P Chiwenga would be the Zanu PF candidate. What has he and his fellow war veterans done to make sure the 2028 elections are free, fair, and credible? What has he done? We are to believe that he has seen the belated democratic light in the late afternoon of his life. And now he's prepared to do something to make sure that this country is restored to democratic rule. What has he done? What is he going to do to make sure that the 2028 elections are free, fair, and credible? Or is he just going to revert back to the usual Zanu PF way of doing things, i.e. rig the elections? Personally, I think he has not changed at all. It's like all other people in this position. They would like to assure you that they have changed, when in reality they have not changed at all. This is no more than a crocodile trying to convince the goat that he is now a vegetarian and is not going to eat any meat. And the goat will be very foolish to believe such obvious lies. I do not believe that this factional war has made people like war veteran Blessed Geza become a Democrat. He is not a Democrat at all. Yes, right now he needs every Zimbabwean out there to come out in support of his agenda to stop Mnangagwa pushing through this constitutional amendment that will allow Mnangagwa to stay in power in 2030, till 2030. But if he was to succeed in that, he and his colleagues will do what they've always done this last 45 years. Go out there and coerce, beat, rape, whatever it takes to force the people of Zimbabwe to vote for Zanu PF. The war veterans have been the cornerstone of Zanu PF imposing the de facto one-party state that has ruled the country to this day. And at the present moment, one faction is fighting to keep Mnangagwa to serve beyond the two-term limits. And another faction is fighting for their own candidate, V P Chiwenga, to be the next president. Our friend promised that we don't want a repeat of 2017, but that is exactly what will happen. We will only be swapping one dictator, Mnangagwa, for another, V P Chiwenga. Let me be very clear on that. V P Chiwenga is just another corrupt, incompetent Zanu PF thug. Those who know him will tell you that his ascension, his climb in the military ranks since independence was never on merit. And while he held his various positions in the army, he has done his fair share of carrying the load, of imposing the one-party state. And in 2017, he was the head of the army. that staged the military coup. And when that succeeded, he retired from the army to become the VP. And for the last 7 years, he has been the vice president and has been hotly waiting his turn to be president. As VP, when he was campaigning in 2018, he said in no uncertain terms that they will crush the opposition like flies. Is that truly the name of the voice of a Democrat? There is no debate that replacing Mnangagwa with V P Chiwenga is just a repeat of 2017. And let me be very clear so that our friends, Comrade Blessed Geza and his friends, do not understand it. The people of Zimbabwe are not interested in swapping one dictator with another. What the nation desperately needs is to end the dictatorship itself, dismantle it. And the only sure way to do so is to implement the democratic reforms and make sure that in future all elections are free, fair, and credible. That is what the people of Zimbabwe want, desperately, and not to be repeating the same mistakes. And to be told that we should trust somebody like Blessed Geza and play along with him and his friends is, to say the very least, naive. And I think the people of Zimbabwe should grow out of that. We cannot keep on repeating the same mistakes over and over again. What we want is an end to the Zanu PF dictatorship. And we don't want it to be shortchanged by just replacing one dictator with another. That is the position. Do I trust Blessed Geza and his friends? The answer is definitely not. There is nothing that has happened or he has said that will convince me that the war veterans who have been responsible for imposing the Zanu PF dictatorship on the people of Zimbabwe these last 45 years have changed. These individuals believe that they have the divine right to rule the country. Now they feel like they're in a corner. Their faction is losing. And so they can afford to be generous, to assure the nation that they are Democrats. And we should team up with them in fighting the Mnangagwa faction. This is a Zanu PF affair. This is no more than two hyenas fighting. The goat has got no part to play in that, because the goat should know that whichever hyena prevails, there will be nothing it will like better than to feast on a goat. After 45 years of rigged elections, corrupt and tyrannical rule, we want to end the dictatorship and not merely swap one dictator for another. I think anyone would be very naive to honestly say they can trust blessed Geza and his colleagues to make sure that 2028 elections are free, fair, and credible. He doesn't even know what constitutes free, fair, and credible elections. And even if he did, after 45 years of rigged elections, and you've said nothing, what has changed now? Thank you very much. Those of you who were able to listen, I hope you'll be able to join us again tomorrow. 6 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time. Have a good day.